Sense of Soul.
Hey Soul Seekers, it's Shanna. Journey with me to discover how people around the world awaken to their true sense of soul. Now go grab your coffee. Open your mind, heart, and soul.
It's time to awaken.
Today on Sense of Soul, I have Hannah Fleming. She is a spiritual guide, co-founder of Your Soul Union, and a Twin Flame Ascension Coach. In 2022, she discovered the teachings of union, where her spiritual path became clearer. She found purpose in helping others recognize the reality of divine love and their unique twin flame connection. Today, alongside her twin flame, Dylan, she helps clients navigate their own healing and ascension journeys, empowering them to find harmonious union and live out their purpose. It's my honor to have this beautiful soul with us today. Please welcome Hannah. Hi, Hannah. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Nice. It's
Nice
so nice
to
to
meet
meet
you.
you.
I know, you too.
And thank you so much for having me. I'll just share, I have been such a fan of this podcast for so long. Like I shared with you earlier, and I just have absolutely adore you. And so, yeah, it's really a dream come true, right? And just a testament to how dreams come true to be here today and to be like speaking with you, because it's been something I've like wrote down, like be on Sense of Soul podcast. Like that's been a dream. So very
Great.
cool. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm humbled by that. And I
Yeah.
can't wait to hear your journey. And so obviously you're meant to be here.
Yes, I feel that for sure. And yeah, like it kind of started off in childhood. Like I had a lot of anxiety in middle school, like a lot of anxiety. I experienced kind of like what I would call like severe OCD. And it was really, really difficult for me at the time for about 3 years. And what happened from there is I really kind of like prayed and like willed myself out of it and began kind of just moving on beyond that experience, but it was still always in the back of my mind. I was like, what was that? Because I didn't have the words for it at the time. I didn't have the word for anxiety or OCD or like what I was moving through. And so flash forward to like college and everything, I hadn't dealt with my emotions at all. I'd gone to therapy like once in high school, but I was just like, this isn't working. I'm not doing this anymore. And then, yeah, I kind of just pushed that all away, right? I pushed all of my emotions and feelings away and kind of just tried to live like the life that they say is going to make you happy, right? Like go to school, get a degree, find the husband, get married, settle down, have kids. And so I was really on that path. I was in a relationship with someone I met in college, and we dated for about 3 years. And what catalyzed me was the end of that relationship to really start to heal myself and to discover like why I'm here, right? Like who God really is, because I was raised Catholic, right? And a lot of those beliefs didn't always resonate with me, but I loved Jesus. Like I loved Jesus. And so, yeah, after that breakup, I really just started to follow my heart, right? Like I was following my heart to discover like who God was, how healing worked. Like from that past experience I had as just like a middle schooler, right? Because it's still at that time, I was like, I got to figure this out. And it's funny because way back then, I had this thought in my mind. I was like, when I'm in my 20s, I'm going to figure out why this is happening to me. I'm going to heal it and I'm going to help others heal too. I had this thought when I was like 10. Which is so funny. Yeah. And so I went full circle and started healing that. And yeah, went to like a healing trauma retreat, started meditation and yoga and diving into the Bible, the Upanishads, like all the spiritual checks to really like go outside of what I had grown up knowing. And yeah, and I really discovered like who God is, like that God has a perfect person for me, like throughout my journey, like there was that calling for my person. And I really found that to be completely true, that I do have a twin flame and I found him.
Mm. Yes, and his name is Dylan. Am I correct?
Yes.
That's awesome. You
Yeah.
know, this is very interesting because it's something that I fell into a little bit when I was studying the Gnostic Gospels. In their creation story, well, the way that I received it, it was like God or this source energy, the absolute, whatever you want to call it, it mirrored itself, right?
Mm,
And created a feminine version of itself. And
mm,
then together, they created what's called the aeons. And these are what I would say are the archangels, the same in the way they have like archetypes. You know, being Catholic as well, these individual archangels, right? You just have like Michael and Gabriel. But in the Gnostic Gospels, they're paired with, it's called their syzygy. And then Sophia, Pistis Sophia, she was the last of the aeons. And she creates life without her counterpart, which is
Mm.
Jesus.
Mm.
It's such a cool story and it's such a different way to look at things. And as a Catholic, it was very hard for me to wrap my mind around it. But I've been on this whole divine feminine, divine masculine journey. It's, making sense to me. Of course,
Mm.
we are both. And so it would make sense more that if there was a father, son, and a mother, you can't leave out the mother, which they left out the mother. So I
Yeah.
think this is a really cool thing that you fell into with Twin Flames because we do have, both.
I love what you shared there as well, because even in like the Christian Bible, like from what I've learned is that when they tell the story of Genesis and the story of creation, and how, God created Eve out of Adam, and they say he took a rib from Adam. I think it's like the Hebrew word for rib is actually side or something like that. So he took Adam's whole side and then created Eve from that. So twin flames, they're like two sides of one coin. So it's
Yeah,
you're not separate at all. You're one. I'm the feminine, he's the masculine, and that's who we are. We're like the yin and yang, right?
yeah, I love that. I just wish they would have went a little bit further and just didn't show that there's just this masculine God of creation when we know that you can't create without both.
Yeah, 100% right. And that's why I feel like the twin flame journey is so healing too, is because it's about recognizing the equality of it. And it's not the masculine or it's not the feminine that leads or has the power in the union. It's the divine. It's the divine who leads and has the power in the union. And that's who comes through at any given time to express itself through us. And I really love that piece of it because, yeah, it isn't like what we see in today's world connection, where it's like, okay, the masculine, and even in some Christian or Catholic households, like the masculine is meant to be like the head of the household and he's served by the woman and all of that. There's none of that in a true divine union or harmonious union. It's no, we're just serving God together, right? We're in service to humanity together, and that's really our purpose. And it just feels so good to have that clarity with it.
Wow. So what led you to the path of the twin flames?
Yeah. Oh, I love that question. So, yeah, like I shared, I was really doing my healing work. I started going to therapy after that breakup because it was a really challenging breakup. I really lost a lot of myself in it. And to be honest, I knew kind of in my heart it never felt like the one. Like there was this like feeling I just couldn't like place. And so one day it was kind of getting bad towards the end, and I just prayed to God and I was like, God, this doesn't feel like true love. Like, show me what true love is, please. Like, because I've always had that prayer with God in my, every day. And a week later, we broke up and the relationship was over. And it really, after that happened the next day, I felt like I shed a layer of skin or something. I was so clear and I was so vibrant in who I was and in my soul. And I knew right then and there that it was God that really ended that relationship so that I could pursue my healing and my twin flame journey, even though I didn't know what twin flames were at the time.
Yeah.
I just knew he wasn't it. You know what I mean? Yeah, and so then from there, I started therapy and yoga and all of that stuff and spiritual studies, and I began to like hold healing circles and help other women too, and was really like confident that I was meant to be a healer and like a teacher in some way. So I was doing my studies and healing till I could become that. And then flash forward 2 years later to May of 2022, and I stumbled across Twin Flames Universe and Twin Flames, and basically what Twin Flames were. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I was looking for. I like had in my heart throughout like the 6 months before I found these teachings that I, do now. I had in my heart that God was going to bring me my person that summer. Like it was just this knowing. And
Mhm.
so May of 2022, I found this work, started applying it, and my life just completely changed. And 2 months later, Dylan and I reconnected on Instagram because we actually went to high school and college together. Invisible string theory, right? And like always had these crushes on each other, but we never like expressed it. And then when we reconnected, it was just like I told him straight away, I was like, like I'm on this journey, I'm on the spiritual path, I'm on the twin flame journey. And he was like, I'm on the twin flame journey too. Cause I was like completely trying to be myself, right? We're not trying. I was just
Okay.
choosing to be my authentic self. I was like, if this guy's gonna get freaked out by me saying what I believe to be true, then he's not my person, right? But he was so receptive, so open. And then from there, it was just like so obvious to us who we were to each other. And yeah, and that we were meant to help others in this work too and coming into their twin flame unions.
Oh my God, I love that. Let's just kind of discuss like what a twin flame is though, because I feel like,
Mhm.
for the longest time, it was like the soulmate. I want to find my soulmate.
Yeah.
Is there a difference? And I mean, I definitely buy into the fact that we have a soul family, kind of lay out what all that looks like.
Yeah, definitely. So from my understanding, we do have a soul family and we do have lots of soulmates. The difference between like a soulmate and a twin flame is that your twin flame is the one that's created for you to be romantic with eternally, right? Because we're eternal beings. We have countless lifetimes, and your twin flame is really that person you're created to live your eternal life with, as best friends, as lovers, as partners, and even like each other's teachers, right? Because you're each other's divine mirror. And of course, like the whole world is your mirror, but your person is like your twin flame is like your most clear mirror. So they're going to show you all your blocks. They're going to trigger you so that you can heal and that you can really essentially ascend. And so a soulmate relationship, on the other hand, is like it can be your brother, it can be a sister, it can be a husband if you haven't yet chosen to be with your twin flame. It can be your mom, your dad, right? It can be anyone, but your twin flame can only be that one person, that one person created for you. Because from what I understand is that twin flames are created with the same soul blueprint or the same soul DNA, and that is what makes them perfect complements. Like they're one being at the same time in two separate bodies. But like a soulmate, they'd be like a separate person from them, a separate entity, right?
Cool. Okay, I
Does
gotcha.
that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. I get it. And I think you explained it well. Does it have to be of the same or of opposite sex, or what does that look like?
No, not at all. So it can totally be, like sex doesn't necessarily matter at all with the twin flame. I
Okay.
have found that it's, unions are typically a divine masculine and divine feminine, but it
Mhm.
doesn't matter like which gendered body you're in.
Okay.
Because like for me, I'm the feminine, Dylan's the masculine. There's twin flame unions where, they may have like different bodies compared to what their energy is, but it's usually always that divine feminine and then the divine masculine energy.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So, and also there's probably many different lifetimes. Maybe you've been in different bodies. And so are you usually running into your twin flame in every life? And is there usually a connection?
Yeah, I love that question. I mean, I think so, right? Like, I do believe that like Dylan and I have had past lives together and that we've experienced, tons of different lifetimes together. But I really feel like every union is different, just like every journey is different. And at the end of the day, like the journey is really like an awakening journey, an ascension journey. And so some unions may not be at the point where they've maybe met in this lifetime yet. Maybe they're early on in their ascension and they're still learning different lessons and things like that. But yeah, I mean, now where we're at today with humanity and with consciousness and everything, I feel like probably everyone's at least met their twin flame in a past life at least once, probably many times more.
Could it be that they would show up in like different characters in their lives? Like, could it be, in this life you found Dylan, but could it have been maybe in a prior life you were his mother, kind of thing?
Hmm. Probably, like in the past, I think that, twin flames have probably to learn various lessons and to like yeah, learn about different aspects of love. I could definitely see that being a possibility. I feel like now though, where we're at, like
Mhm.
everyone's so ready for their person. Like
Like,
people are
we're
done with
evolving.
like settling. They're done with that old framework of marriage where women, are like were sold off or like, just that super archaic thing, and they're ready to like step into the divine marriage they came here for, like that they're created for. So I think now, like everyone on the planet, if they desire like their twin flame, it would be their lover, right? It'd be like their complement.
Wow. And then what happens when they find out that it's not? Oh boy. And that's just the thing. What about age? That's another thing.
Yeah, that's a big question, like a big thing. A lot that kind of worries a lot of people, right? Because like,
Yeah.
oh no, like what if my twin flame's 40 years older than me or something like that? Several of my friends who are in union, like some of them have 20, 14-year age gaps. It is like a thing that can happen with twin
Wow.
flames,
Mhm.
but it doesn't make a difference, right? Because like they're completely the same age, like spiritually, because
Yeah.
we're back to like being eternal. So it's not like that scary kind of thing of like thinking that person's way older than them and they're like, it's just really
Yeah.
normal for these unions because yeah, like you're one, so that person just like maybe has a more experience on earth in this lifetime, but you have the same experience at the soul level.
Oh my goodness. So is it true though that like once you do meet your twin flame, like that's your union and then that's it? I've heard that before. Like you finally, connect with your twin flame, you guys totally align with each other, and that's like the whole purpose. You're done.
Yeah, like well, I think there's more to do once you come into union for sure
Yeah.
because you're created like with a very like with a purpose with your twin flame because you do share a beautiful purpose together. And like once, for example, once Dylan and I came into union, like we then started healing together, right? And we since we had each other side by side, there was triggering and there's challenges and things, but it was a beautiful like coming back to love, like throughout all of that. Because as we healed what came up for us, it just takes you deeper into love and into peace. And from there, really, like it was working on our life purpose. It was like sharing this news with the world, right? That like everyone can be with their twin flame and that it's possible for them. And yeah, because I feel like there's a lot of info out there that's like twin flames are it's not possible, it's too hard, and like or it's just a fantasy or whatever that may be. And we found that not to be true at all. And like anyone can have that love in their heart that they desire.
Hmm. So is it usually in a romantic relationship that is ultimately the goal? I mean,
Yes.
or is it sometimes a monogamous relationship or just a, friendship?
I think the goal is to be in that romantic relationship together, because you are, created to be like ultimate lovers, and like that's your person to like, yeah, like experience, like that divine love with. And yeah, I think there are maybe some twin flames that don't go all the way there. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but the work we do and teach, like you can transcend just the friendship and bring that into the romance because I don't know about you and like your listeners, but I feel like everyone just desires that deep, passionate romance in their life, right? Whether it be like like through like their twin flame or through that connection they have with God, like everyone desires their person,
Yeah.
right? That like that
The
love.
best feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're in love, it's wonderful that all that oxytocin starts going in your body.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the movie? It's an older movie. It's called Made in Heaven.
Oh no.
Okay, you got to put it on your watch list. When
Hmm.
I was younger, I saw this movie. It was like one of those movies like when HBO first came out. They played like the same movies all the time, and that was one that I loved. But the story was, so there's this guy, I want to say his name was Elmo, actually, I think.
Hmm.
And he dies. And when he goes to heaven, he falls in love with a new soul that had never been to earth before. She was just an angel, that
Wow.
had never had an actual physical life on earth. And she's told that she's going to be a baby and be
Mm.
born. And like everyone's really excited when they're able to go and experience like life
Mhm.
on earth as a human in the 3D. And he begs this character, his name is Emmett, and he smokes. He's kind of like the god figure in heaven. And he begs him to like, let me go down onto earth, as a baby, the same, And so we can find each other. I know we will. I know we will. And he gave him till I think like his 30th birthday to do it. And there's all these things that are like keeping them apart, but then there's Emmett sometimes doing some stuff to kind of try to make it happen. And I can't ruin the whole movie for you though, but what's crazy is that they kind of have this visual of a person and a feeling and all this, and they're kind of searching for that their whole life, but yet they get involved with other people and it's not successful and it doesn't feel right. And then, well, I'm not going to ruin the movie for you because it is that good of a movie. And
I can't wait.
yeah, it's so good. I mean, I think it's so good. I can't believe people don't know more about it. When I first saw that movie, I probably was about 10 or 11, And actually, my partner now, I actually thought he was my first boyfriend. So I was all like lovey-dovey and it just felt right, like that kind of scenario. Like, I believe that I have felt that before, like having visuals of and feeling like this longing for something that I hadn't yet discovered.
That's so beautiful. I definitely want to see this movie. And that's the feeling I feel like I had like my whole life, right? Like I like to say, like every time I looked at the moon, it was like I was thinking of Dylan without knowing he was even out there, right? Like, and it's that feeling of like there's someone out there for me, but then it gets in the way of like these fears and these doubts and these like, oh, that's just a fairy tale or whatever. And then, but then I was like, wait, no, this is real because this is something I felt. I felt this in my heart. It has to be real. And yeah, like I feel like we're born with that feeling and that knowing because that is like the call of your twin flame kind of.
Have you ever been on my website and where I wrote about twin flames and soulmates?
No, I haven't checked that out yet.
I'm going to read you something.
Yeah.
So it's called A Soul with No Mate. Searching for a treasure without navigation or destination. Blind in search for what you know is true yet undiscovered. Searching for the eyes that I have looked into for lifetimes before. Only catching a glimpse of the corner of your eye. A brief knowing, yet never fully revealing itself. A feeling of loneliness and incomplete that one cannot escape. Deeply in love with a memory that doesn't exist in physical space, although true and real somewhere lost within time. Leaving one weak and thirsty, longing for the unknown, desperately seeking wholeness, always wanting more, to which you only find within dreams and in the stillness of one's deepest thoughts. The agony of the incomplete realization, almost wishing you hadn't awakened to. Looking for everything and nothing in between, fully committed, faithful, a prisoner to unfulfilled moments. How many lifetimes, how long until my heart will be whole again? Knowing not what the heart desires. Feeling isolated, lost in a sad, timeless love story kept safely. The feeling of missing someone unknown, invisible, an eternal, ethereal cord that can never be broken. Forever anticipating, searching in this lifetime and 1,000 more. Sending out to the universe a boomerang made of love in hopes that it may be returned. Endlessly crying out, looking for the signs and listening for the clues that may whisper in the wind. Desperately attempting to awaken every soul for the discovery of the one soul so deeply longed for. My love, is it you that are still asleep? Patiently, I wait for an eternity until your heart awakens.
Oh my God. I had chills and tears and wow, that was so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. That was amazing.
I wrote that so long ago, probably a decade ago.
Oh, it's got like the twin flame feeling all over it, right? I just was like, I really did tear up and like just felt like the love, right? And like the purity there and like that innocence of just that desire for the person that is created for you.
And the knowing that it's there and that you are searching for something, and yet you quite, just like in the movie Made in Heaven, like he searched, but yet didn't really know what he was looking for, but just had this strong feeling that there was.
Mm, beautiful. It's so true, right?
Yeah.
That's like that's where the leap of faith comes in. Like it's like to go and to pursue that knowing of like, oh, what am I looking for? I don't know, but I'm gonna follow that anyways and see, right? I'm gonna follow that string that's like pulling me in this direction and like, see where it takes me.
Yeah. And I
Mhm.
have had a lot of past life regressions and have,
Mhm.
put a lot of connections together, even into this life. And
Nice.
so, yeah, I'm so curious. Have you ever done one before that maybe you could connect with Dylan in those past
Mhm.
lives?
I have done one. I did. I actually, it was the girl that was on your show. It was Deanna or Deanne.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
mhm.
Awesome.
Yes, I loved her. Oh my, I do love her. And yeah, she was amazing. It was more of like a reading with past lives. So I think there was just like
Right.
two little instances that really
Yeah, it was
weren't.
an Akashic reading.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
she's awesome.
she is. She was amazing. And she really helped support me, coming into my union and into, the work I do today. It was a huge
Wow.
support for me. I remember she told me like that Jesus was one of my spirit guides. And for me, coming out of being Catholic, I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, like she's like,
Right.
I've never seen this before. I've never seen Jesus come through as a spirit guide. And I was like, oh my God, really? And so it made me feel so safe to like
Yeah.
continue exploring spirituality, right? And continue to like step outside that box. And that it was like that it was okay. And that like Jesus was with me, right? Even if I wasn't even if I was exploring outside of the Catholicism, right? It was
Yeah.
all good. Like he was there.
Right. Yeah, it's so hard to come out of those conditioned thoughts. You know, Jesus and, they say Mary Magdalene had a very strong connection. In my study of the Gnostic Gospels, there definitely was a very, very, I'd say, a very aligned journey with them. And I was very surprised in that, especially in the Pista Sophia. I mean, she was in communication, in question, in teaching, and student kind of situations the entire book. And I think she is mentioned like over 200 sometimes, like to Peter's like five.
Wow.
I mean, I got beef with Peter, but and he really was so horrible to her and questioned over and over in many of the Gospels. Why are you telling her this information? Why do you give her more time? Why, why? And I felt like they were more equals, if anything,
Mhm.
and that she, in her journey, was to carry on that. And I think that she did.
Mhm.
And I think that's something that's been hidden, and that stole like a story of maybe twin flames from us.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm so glad this has come up because they're like my favorite twin flame couple. I like adore them. I love Jesus and Mary Magdalene. Like Magdalene was my like confirmation name when I got confirmed. I was so connected
Really?
to her too. Yes.
Oh, I love that.
And it was just like I remember learning about her and like how they say she was like a prostitute or whatever it was. And I was like, I chose her name because I felt back in eighth grade, I was like, that's not true. I don't know what that teaching is, but I know it's not
Yeah,
true. And I'm choosing her
right.
name because I know there's more to this. And I know like she is a leader and a teacher and she's like a goddess. And I just felt that call to her. And so I totally agree with you that, and I do believe they're twin flames. I believe they came to do their work together, and that, yeah, Jesus was the main teacher in that lifetime, but that doesn't mean she taught like any less than him, right? From what you're sharing too, which I love to hear, is like he was with her a lot, right? Probably
Oh
give a
my
lot
gosh.
of support and emotional support. Hmm.
Yeah, and as a coach, I know, as being in a teacher role, you learn so much from your students, from being in the
Yeah.
role
Oh yeah.
of a coach or a teacher. I mean, or a mother. I mean, my children are my greatest teachers.
Mhm.
There's not been one person that I've worked with that I didn't learn so much from. And so in the same, it is an equal, relationship, and it should be anyways.
Mhm. Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
and that's what I saw in the Pistis Sophia. She would challenge him with questions. And, I think that we learned through her in that
Mhm.
book, which it
That's
shows
so
so much of
cool.
her.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, and I love that you said like that she challenged him, right? Because that's really like what union is all about. It's about like not falling into the pattern of like complacency, but always like supporting each other and becoming like the best version of yourself and to continue to like outgrow who you were and keep growing, right? It's all about growth, which I love so much. And that's kind of what I heard you say there is they really supported one another's growth, right? Into yeah, like who Jesus became like himself was in part right because of the disciples and because of their strength to listen and to follow him. And yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I know. I love that. I did a mini series on Sophia, and one of the episodes I did was on Mary Magdalene.
Oh,
And,
nice.
I learned so much about her that I never knew existed. There was one point where Peter actually asked Jesus, I think it was in the it was in one of the Gnostic Gospels. It was actually, I think it was in the book of Mary Magdalene's book. Why do you kiss her on the lips?
Oh, wow.
Well, it says, why did you kiss her on? And like that part was missing, but
Mm,
like because it was a fragment, that they translated these from. But I mean, you would assume that it was her lips. There's this jealousy because, obviously they had a special relationship. So, but
yeah.
in the Gnostic Gospels with him and Sophia being the Christos, Sophia,
Mm,
I did an episode on that one too. And in the story, Sophia is lost in the darkness, and it is Jesus's light that helps her find her light within. And some people I've talked to have said, well, it makes Pistis Sophia seem so helpless, and like the man's going to come in and help her, and this and that. But in many ways, more of the story kind of reveals to me, had Jesus not come to help her, maybe he hadn't come into this life to help us. So
mm,
in one way, I mean, no matter how you look at relationships, they benefit, even if, like you said, they bring challenges or struggles.
mhm. Oh, yeah. From what I've realized too, is it's not like Jesus would have come to save her. It's like somewhere within she had to make the choice to save herself. And that's why Jesus would have been able to come to her, right? Because I really do believe that like we create our own realities and we attract things to us. And that's why you can attract your twin flame. But like at the same time, that's why you can attract healing experiences because somewhere within you're choosing to heal. Like you're choosing to step forward into more love for yourself. And that's really that choice, right, is what makes God be able to show up for you, whether it be like in that case with Jesus or in some other way.
Well, when I read it and when I even tell that story, I visualize it very clearly that it wasn't that he was like, here's your light, and I'm gonna just save you. It's more like he helped her find her light within by being the light. Like,
Mm,
and we
yeah.
do that for a lot of people in our lives. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like if someone's in a crappy mood and just sitting next to him and just being the light and helping them find their own light by you just being the light.
Mm. I think that's it, right? No one can receive someone else's light, but other people's
Yeah.
lights can unlock their light, right? Like the permission to shine gives others permission to shine when you shine. And like that's what I feel like I do as like an ascension coach and like a healer. It's like I'm not the one healing them. I'm helping them heal themselves. I'm helping them bring light and love into themselves so that they can live an empowered life and they have the tools to create their own reality, create their life of love.
It's so interesting because I think for myself, like the more things that you heal, the lighter you get and the closer
Yeah.
you are to your purpose and to your soul family and probably the union with your twin flame. But there's a lot that needs to be healed in us. We're just now able to get to this space. I think you kind of mentioned that at the beginning. We're at a time where we're down to heal.
Yeah.
Men are open to heal, women are open to heal, and to be able to move into that union.
Oh yeah, 100%, right? I love to think of like we were talking at the beginning, like I'm such a history nerd and I love to think of the history of humanity all the way back to Jesus, right? And how Jesus came to bring love, to bring the love your neighbor like yourself because
Yeah.
didn't really have that down. And then once we kind of started handling that, then we had to move through everything that happened after that. And then let's go to the 1900s where we didn't have equal rights for women or people of all colors or people of all orientations, and so we had to purge and release all of that like fear and separation, right? All that stuff that's like not love. We had to release all of that. And now we're at a place where, and I'm sure so much else happened. Those are just like some main things. And now we're finally at a place where like things are, yeah, we totally need more healing, but things are way better than they've ever been when it comes to like where we're at with humanity, right? Like with men healing, with people being more conscious of what they say. And they're like, there's a lot more compassion nowadays too. And so I do feel like we were prepared kind of in a way perfectly by like all the spiritual masters and leaders and that have come before us to really make the way for the consciousness of twin flames and ascension really mainstream. And that's what I think where we're headed to. Because we were saying like that feeling that everyone has, right, of like their person, and then like healing being so much more normalized nowadays. It's not embarrassing to go to therapy anymore. It's not like hush hush. And there's so many other like aspects of healing and spirituality that are way more normalized today. And so I do feel like that's where we're headed into a world where like ascension and healing and being with your twin flame is all like the norm. And that's what I feel like is creating the new earth. It's creating like a heavenly consciousness for us all to live here, and come back to lifetime after lifetime.
Yeah, I feel I do too. And I look back on history too when I think about some of the things that I've learned along that journey. I mean, just, that if a woman was raped, back in the day, of Mary Magdalene, I mean, she had to marry her rapist,
Mm,
punished, for being raped. And marriage was just a part of a deal between families. And they did not encourage you to love.
mm,
In fact, it was not encouraged whatsoever. I know there's this one story about this one king or prince or something where he was forbidden to love because it would cause problems. Love caused problems between their agreements. You were fixed up with so and so, and there was no love involved. So we've come a long way. And like you mentioned, race. I mean, I know in my ancestry and my family, they weren't allowed to even marry outside of their race.
mm.
And so, I mean, that's just horrible. And just, it's hard to even imagine, a time like that, but it was just in somebody's
Yeah.
lifetime today. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, we've come so far so quickly to be able to be free and sovereign, to be able to follow and let our soul lead us to where we're supposed to be. So
Mm.
tell me about this Twin Flame University. Like as a coach, how do you help people?
Yeah, that absolutely. So Twin Flames Universe, it's a community where I've learned like what I know about Twin Flames, right? And about ascension and healing. Really like what's supported me and learning about this connection and how it works. Yeah, the mirror exercise, which is the tool I've used to like help myself heal and release and clear like limiting beliefs and blocks and like everything from my being to where I can just feel peace. Like even if I'm triggered, I heal it and I feel just straight peace. And it's so relieving to have that tool that I can turn to again and again. And so, yeah, it's really a community of people that are on the twin flame journey, working on healing themselves. Like that's the goal is to like transcend like any blocks or barriers or issues to living that life that you dream of with your twin flame. Like it's truly the community I was like looking for without knowing I was looking for it on my spiritual path because everything I was learning before I found Twin Flames Universe was like connecting a dot for me, connecting a dot for me, connecting a dot. And then I found the teachings of union, and it was like, oh my God, everything in my mind just connected. And it was like, here it is. This is it. Right. It was so cool. So I was like, all right, let me try it out. See like if this, aligns with me. And it turned out it did. And after I started doing the mirror exercise that I mentioned, Dylan and I were in union like 2 or 3 months later. Like I healed so much so fast really just started having better relationships with my family, my friends, everyone in my life. Yeah, and from there, like I knew I wanted to share this work because of what a difference it made for my life. And it brought me my twin flame. It brought us like our home we live in together and just like everything coming together. And almost right away, like a month after Dylan and I came into union, we were like, we are going to share this. We have to tell people like what is possible, like I was saying earlier. And so we started to, heal together, work together, and then, yeah, decided to become Ascension coaches to help support others on their ascension journey, which really is just their healing journey into more wholeness with themselves and from leaving behind like the ego and the fear to stepping into their divinity. And so that's what we do now together. And yeah, it's pretty wonderful.
Tell me about your relationship. Like, what does that look like? Like, what makes Dylan a twin flame?
I love that. Yeah. Well, for me, it was like I felt my twin flame like coming into my life, like I mentioned. And so once we reconnected, I was constantly like, okay, this feels like him. Like it feels like him, but I'm not gonna like attach and be like, it has to be him or else, I was like, I'm just gonna chill, surrender this, surrender again and again and again. And if it's him, awesome. That's wonderful. I was very peaceful because I had been doing all the work. And so yeah, I just kept choosing peace and surrender there. And so eventually it was like fully revealed to us both that a feeling of like being home, like being so safe. It's like being with your best friend that you've like, this is what I say about our first conversation. It was like connecting with my best friend I've known for lifetimes and catching up about this life on planet Earth. It was like, oh, what have you been up to? And I'm like, well, I did this and this and this. And he's like, what have you been up to? And it was like this beautiful back and forth of just like catching up energy. And it was so divine in like every way. Like it was a solid like knowing of like he's the one. And I had never had that before. I had never had that like he's the one. Like I've heard the saying when you know, but I've
Yeah.
never had that feeling until meeting him. And yeah, and then from there it was like just continuously was getting better and better and like becoming clearer and clearer. And we really were both able to relax into the union because like even if there was a trigger or something, we both used it to like heal and come deeper into love. And so it's been like a really beautiful unfolding of like safety and compassion and like friendship and like of course like romance and just it's been absolutely amazing. And I really feel like everyone deserves to have that person and that connection in their life because they're out there, right? That guy, that woman is out there that's going to love you and support you and cherish you and adore you and treat you how you want to be treated and like check off everything on your list. Like they're out there and like if they don't check every box yet, they will. As you do the work, like as you love yourself, you're going to grow into those people together. Like you're going to grow into like the king and queen of like your own reality together as you love each other and teach each other to be, more of who you
Probably
are.
one of the most questions I get asked all the time by listeners is like, okay, I'm waking up, but my partner isn't.
Mm.
And so they're not like aligning. And I hear that all the time. But I've always been a hopeless romantic. That's why I like the movies, like Romeo and Juliet and
Oh, me too.
yeah, like oh my gosh. And one of the things though, even with like Disney fairy tales, right? I mean, is it always a fairy tale or is it more like Shrek?
Well, it's funny because like yeah, I totally hear what you're saying. Like in a lot of cases, like your twin flame may not be who you think it's going to be. They're going to
Mhm.
be better than that though. No one has to worry about getting like a weird twin flame, right? Like you know what I mean? You're not going to get Shrek. You're going to get someone so awesome and so perfect for you.
Oh,
And
I'll take Shrek.
yeah, there you go. But yeah, it takes like the journey too, like of coming into like the better version of yourself, right? Because a lot of people, it's like, okay, they want this awesome person, but then when you write out the list of qualities they want in that person, okay, do you align with all these qualities? Do you have all these things in you yet? And if the answer is no, well, okay, you're not going to attract that person yet. But then as you work on embodying the qualities you desire in your person, that's the person that's going to be attracted to you. And I'm not saying it's like some random person, it's going to be your twin flame, but you can work together towards your twin with your twin flame to then embody more of these qualities, these really like Christ-like qualities on your list as you do the work. And so, no, like you're not going to get like the perfectly polished, prince right out of the box, but that's not even fun. You want to do the work together. You want to like, go through the trenches and like have fun together and like heal together, because that's what builds that incredible and like passionate romance. It's like the best stories are like the rags to riches stories, right? It's about like Cinderella and like even Shrek, right? And like these stories where you go from like the challenge to overcoming that challenge and then living the fairy tale and getting that life. And I do believe in the fairy tale. I believe I'm living it. I believe it gets better every day. And I believe like we're all like capable of that. It just takes like not giving up to recognize like where you're blocked being your best self, and to heal those areas in your being and in your life holding you back, right? Maybe limiting beliefs or places that you're placing blame on others instead of taking responsibility and moving forward that way. But yeah, really it's just about like coming closer to like who you're made to be, right? And when you're in union, you get to do that like alongside your twin flame.
I had Shai Tabali on years ago. Oh, I have his book right here called this The Seven Chakra Personality Types. I was so shocked when I read that book because my partner and I were on the opposite sides of the spectrum, complete opposite
Mhm.
sides, which is so him and I. But I realized I'm so up here that I need him to ground me, and like vice versa. I need to get him out of that
Yeah.
structured pace and, every day doing the same thing and all that, and become a little bit more free. And so we've always known that about each other, that we kind of balance each other out like that.
Thought about that other part of your question with like, oh, I'm more awakened than my person, or I'm
Yeah.
tracking people who aren't as awakened as me. And
Hmm.
so it's really cool because with your twin flame, you're always going to be at the same level of awakening, even if that looks different. So what you're saying is like so aligned with that, because while
Yeah.
you may be more awakened spiritually, he may be more awakened in his peace or in his grounding energy and his ability to like hold that space. And you hold space amazingly, but do you know what I mean? Like in that other side of the coin. And similarly to Dylan and I, like I found the teachings of Union and Twin Flames Universe first, and he then started working through it with me. But he's really the peace holder. Like in our union, he is like the rock. He's like always in peace. I'm more of the anxious, more of, like which I'm constantly working through and healing. But it's like it's funny because he is just so rock solid. And then I'm over here like the
Wow.
butterfly, like the, oh my God, I'm just a butterfly and I'm just gonna fly around and enjoy my life.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's funny how that works. And so if someone's in an experience where they feel like the person they're interested in, or maybe their twin flame is less awakened than them, look for their qualities where they are awakened. That complements yours perfectly. You don't complete each other, you like complement each other.
Yeah. You both can't lead when you're dancing, right?
Yeah,
Kind of thing.
exactly.
Yeah. I love that. That's so true. Um, you know, my best friend, well, Mandy, you probably have
Mhm.
heard me
Yeah.
with Mandy. And, I mean, we're so alike. We could like finish each other's sentences. We know exactly, we don't even have to say words. We could just, we know,
I love
right? It's like we're aligned in that way. But then and I'm opposite like that with my partner. But then, it's so interesting, the different dynamics and the different purposes that, all the relationships that you have in your life. But
Mhm.
so there's a lot of healing that before you find the person that you're going to be together with. A lot of people have a lot of trauma, that
Mhm.
holds them back from being able to fully be available to
Mhm.
have that kind of relationship. Or do you feel like you could do it, the healing together? And you mentioned something that, your healing went really quick once you had that connection.
Yeah. Yeah, I do feel like I like every person is unique, right? But at the same time, I feel like it depends on your choice in a lot of situations. We all have free will. And when you choose to do your healing and to go all in with it and to receive the support that is going to help you like go fast, you can go as fast as you want to go. And I think that's exactly what I did, because I was just like, all right, this fits me like a glove. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go all in, and I'm gonna find my man. I'm gonna be with him. Like I had this drive and this passion that like nothing could stop me. And so like I think if you have that attitude, like Absolutely. It doesn't have to take a whole lifetime to come together. But at the same time, like if you want to take it slow and be really compassionate with yourself and like go at your own pace, that's cool too. Like there's no rush to healing, right? Like that's what's so cool is like I feel like God really gives us our next piece right when we need it. And like you can really like choose to go at whatever pace you want to go at, and the universe is going to align with that pace and be like, all right, you want to go fast? Here you go. Here, let's go fast.
So many people saying this to me over and over, like there's this quickening, or they're
Mhm.
saying stuff like healing doesn't have to take, years and years upon years. Like once we are able to move into that higher vibration, that heals quickly. And I do think if you have a great support system around you, loving, lots of loving family and relationships, I mean, yeah, that happens. It's when you don't, it's when you've isolated yourself, in fear. Yeah. And what you said was safe. You said that you felt safe with Dylan. That was one of the things. And peaceful. Those vibrations are completely opposite of the ones that keep us from being in relationship with people.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that's the main feeling, like of course love, but like peace is like it's like, it makes me kind of emotional because it's all I've ever wanted was peace in my life. And I feel like that's what a lot of people want. They just want peace. And with peace though comes like your person, because when you cultivate peace within yourself, you can handle the vibration of like your union because it's meant to be grounded in peace. It's meant to be the most peaceful, safest, coziest home for you ever. I think that's the goal of the healing journey. It's not to get somewhere, it's not to get into union, it's not to get the house or the car or like become a healer. It's none of that. It's just to have peace and to deepen your peace in your life every day. Because I think that's like the best feelings in the world is just to have peace. And
Yeah.
we all of a sudden get lost in like seeking a high, or like I did in the past, seeking like a rush, or like the
Mm,
next relationship that's going to make you feel better, or going out with your friends, or whatever that next thing is. But really like that's just a distraction from just choosing to be peaceful and claiming your peace, because peace is available to anyone at any time, I feel. And yeah, the things may hold you back from it, like trauma and things like that. But as you take steps forward towards healing that trauma, you're gonna feel that peace. Like it's there for you. Yeah, it's real. It's possible.
You also mentioned that there was a tool that you were using to get to that peace. Like where to go when if you're in the midst of chaos, which we are, it's hard to find your peace unless you have a tool to get there.
Definitely. Yeah, the mirror exercise is like, it's amazing, right? Because right before I found Twin Flames Universe and the mirror exercise and this tool, I was really into the law of attraction and watching The Secret and learning about all of that and how the world's your mirror and you can create your reality based on your thoughts and you attract everything to you based on your vibration. And so I was like, cool, this is awesome. But how do I actually use this besides like maybe affirmations or something like that, or a vision board? How do I use this to actually create my reality? And then I found the mirror exercise in TFU, and I was like, oh my God, and like it clicked. I can kind of walk you through it real quick. It's like
Yeah, sure.
basically cool. Yeah, it's a 4-step tool. You use it when you're upset about something, when you get a trigger, when you're upset. And step one is going to be where you project the upset out. So like I'll just do like an example. Like I'll do a twin flame example because these are common. I'm upset with my twin flame for not communicating with me well and being rude to me or something like that.
Okay.
Step two would be where you'd flip it around on yourself. And so you'd switch the nouns to pronouns, or the pronouns to nouns. I'll just tell you how it'd go. It'd go, I'm upset with myself because I'm not communicating with myself and I'm being rude to myself. There's the
Mm.
mirror, right? And then we do step three, where you'd say, is there any truth to this? And it's funny because the answer is always going to be yes, because like you were saying, like if you are attracting something into your reality, somewhere within, like you're holding that vibration, you're doing that to yourself somewhere. And so you'll be like, okay, yeah, I see I'm not communicating with myself and I have some negative self-talk that I feel like is kind of rude. So you'd kind of acknowledge that to begin the healing. And then step four is where you connect with the part of you that's not communicating and that's being rude. And you ask that part of you what you need to feel loved right now. And so maybe you can visualize her, or like some words come up and she might just need love or compassion or
Oh,
peace or strength or trust or ease, like whatever comes to mind, you give that to that part of you, like in that moment. And it might take like a minute and then you feel peace, or it might take 5, 10 minutes of giving this part of you love. But like you just keep going until you feel like at peace and complete there. And then you melt the part of you into your heart and you make them one with you and integrate it. And yeah, it's just a really beautiful way to self-soothe and to actually heal the core of why something's happening and coming up in your life.
and you reclaimed power completely,
Yeah.
because instead of something controlling you outside of yourself, you
Hmm.
absolutely took back your power.
Hmm.
And, wow, you didn't look for anybody outside of you to make that better for you. You did
Right.
it for yourself. That's huge.
It's been
Love
so
that.
empowering for me, like
Yeah.
absolutely. Like with my parents, with work in the past, like it was like so transformative to be able to really like take responsibility. Like I have notebooks full of this tool like that I've written out over the years,
Yeah.
because it just was so helpful, and I could really like have compassion and actually gratitude for those that were upsetting me, because I'm like, oh my God, thank you for like showing me this part of me. Now I can heal it and I can keep going and feel so much better, because you'll know it's healed when you do reach that peace within your heart, and you can feel it. You feel like you shed something, or like a lightness to you. It's really beautiful.
Yeah. Everyone needs that tool right now.
Yes, definitely.
Right now. So when you're working with somebody, and I'm really curious about this, and even Dylan, I'd love to know how he works with people too, or what that dynamic looks like. Do you guys work together?
Yeah, Dylan and I, we do coach together, like two-on-ones, but then we also coach separately and have our group classes too, which is so cool. Like, I love working with him. Like, we had a client this morning, and it's just like, it's the coolest thing in the world, because I still get blown away to this day by like how when I like don't have the piece to say or to share, he has it. And like vice versa. Like I have it if he doesn't have it. And it's such a cool flow. But yeah,
That's
like
awesome.
the coaches though, there's people from like all over the world. So like any language you can receive support, like German,
Wow.
we probably even have
Hmm.
like, Russian, I don't know. But so yeah, there's a lot of awesome support there for people. And yeah, and it's all based on that tool, the mirror exercise, to where you'll get support through your emotions, right? Like I like to tell my clients, like the session's all about you and your feelings, and I'm just here to help guide you through your feelings and guide you to the healing and to that peace at the end of it. And so we'll work through the mirror exercise, healing those blocks, and then yeah, they leave the session feeling like they've cleared like another layer.
That's beautiful. Well, now I'm all like in a lovey-dovey mood.
Oh, good. I love that.
Tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. So yoursoulunion.com, that's our website. And on our Ascension coaching page, you can book a 30-minute consultation with me or Dylan. And we also have an Instagram, which is at Dylan is Hannah. That's our handle across YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And then you can check out twinflamesuniverse.com or the Twin Flames Universe Open Forum for more coaches and more support there for completely for free. And yeah, that would be it.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. It was so good to meet you.
It was such a pleasure
Well,
to meet you and get to talk to you. You're like exactly like what I thought you'd be. I was like, she's just as cool as she was, like listening to her, talking to her. Like it's kind of
oh,
surreal, but you're absolutely amazing. And thank you for all the work you do. You guys truly like supported me through so much of my journey in my awakening. And it was, yeah, like just life-changing listening to you guys. So thank you again.
thank you. And I'm going to definitely share that with Mandy.
Oh, please do. Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm bummed I didn't get to meet her, but let her know that I'm sending my love and that yeah, I hope she's doing really well.
Oh, thanks, Hannah.
Sense of soul.